I'm going to have surgery in a couple weeks, and I'm going to be out of commission for a while. And in that time, I want to work on some videos like this one and some of the others that I've been compiling raw footage of. And I need a place to do that work. And right now, I don't really have a good place. I'm not going to be able to lift anything, so I've got to do some of the prep work now so that I can get everything set up to do that. Right now, I've got a very small corner off to the side, and it's just not much room. This big box for the laser is in the way. And to be honest, I haven't used the laser in a long time, and I don't see it in my near future with the work that I have planned right now. So I'm gonna find a place to store this until I can add on to my shop and get a dedicated place for it, or I need to pull it out and use it. But this will allow me to clean off my desk and be able to get some work done and spread things out. I do have one problem though, and that's Shop Cat. Shop Cat, that's his dedicated window. And right now this little box props up against here, and he also gets up on this box and lays there. So I need to give him something to replace it while I clear off my desk space. So I had these laying around, the old shelf brackets, and I found a piece of plywood. And some time ago, I had intended to do this kind of thing for some cats that stay on our back patio, but I bought some indoor-outdoor carpet. So my plan is to throw together a little shelf. This is not going to be very fancy, and just put it up in this window so that he can use it. So now he can enjoy himself. You do enjoy yourself, don't you? Yes. Okay. So let's get started on this. The first thing I need to do is get all of this junk off here. A lot of that in the back has to do with the venting for the laser printer that one day I need to hook up. I'll do that when I rebuild it. Of course, there's Shop Cat. He really knows how to relax. So I'm going to find another project to work on for a little bit, and I'll come back when he's done. He still hasn't moved, so again, I'll come back later. But I did want to mention one thing. This box, I think I thought I was building a tank. It was one of the first things I built in this shop when I got started. It's 3/4 inch plywood, and its only purpose, well, two purposes, is to keep the dust off the laser engraver, and then also to protect the cat from the light, because there's various angles you can see the laser light, and of course I can wear glasses and goggles for that purpose, but you know, I don't have any goggles for him, so I just needed something so that when it's running, and you know, sometimes the laser engraver can run for quite a lengthy time and I'll leave it unattended. I don't want him getting up and looking at the light. So I realize now that I need to rebuild this thing, and I need to use something much less than what it's built out of now for its intended purposes. So when it comes back to functionality, it'll probably be in a new form with a new box, and I'll just make scrap out of this and use it for something else. I finally outsmarted him. I put some treats down. That did the job. Yep, I was building a tank. My laser is the Atom Stack. It's not one of the more common ones that you hear about, but it works pretty well. It's got a little camera add-on that allows you to see an overhead view and know where you're going to engrave or cut. I like it. I'm going to go find a safe place to put that. It's probably going to go into the outdoor shed. Then I'll pick back up. Moving that was a little bit of effort, for me anyway. I will be rebuilding that, and it definitely will not be with 3/4 inch plywood. So that's cat shredded. I'll have to do something about that. So I've got to take these boards off the side. These were just put up temporarily to keep the cat from scratching at the insulation. You can see the white tape there where I'd done a little bit of repair already. But we're going to take these down. You'll notice that they're a little irregular cut, and I'm going to clean those up before I put them back up. Of course, all this will be replaced once the final wall, or whatever I'm going to cover the wall with, gets put in place. I'm just holding the shelf up there so I can figure out where I want to put the shelf brackets. I'm going to put the shelf to where it's fairly even with the window sill and just make a little mark, and then I'll use that as reference. I've just gotten started and I don't have everything labeled yet, but this is the start of my new screw organization, well, fasteners. I'm just going to use the bracket itself to find where I want to mark for the screw. These brackets have those keyhole holes on them so that you can put the screw in and slide it over there. Of course, the secret to these is getting the right tension on there to be able to slide it in firmly. Sometimes that takes me a couple tries. And that's what we want, is a nice snug fit. Then we can just make sure we're level. Perfect. So we're going to figure out where the other one needs to go. And of course, this is not fine woodworking, so we're getting things just very close. Of course, instead of just guessing, if you can get the bit in there, you can tighten it down after you get the bracket on. And there goes my bit. Assuming you don't drop your bit. We're ready to cover the shelf with something. This will help give him a little bit of cushion. This was just a remnant piece of indoor-outdoor carpet. I just guesstimated that I needed about 3 inches on all sides. So I measured that out and I made a little cut in the fabric so I'd know where my reference was. Did the same thing on the other side. Then I fold the fabric over so that I could use that to mark that direction. And then did a little fold so I could make a crease and cut up the crease, connect the 2 cuts, and we had what we needed. Okay. I am not an expert at upholstery. I can't even wrap a Christmas present well, but we'll get this done.
I just decided to pick a side and go ahead and staple it down really well, and then go to the opposite side and pull up the slack and then staple it down. I'm not really sure about the best way to cut and fold the corner, so I tried a few different techniques here. Just basically how I approach the cut and the fold. Some were just an overlap, a square overlap like you see there, and then you'll see coming up there was some more of an angle. Right there I made a relief cut to make sure there was no bunching up as I went along. There I cut out a little bit of excess and then folded it over. And that seemed to work well. Definitely not an expert, and of course that one's at an angle. So if any of you in the comments want to put on how to better upholster fabric, I'm open. Of course, there goes my staple gun. Had a little bit of a jam there, had to clean that out. I wasn't sure how I would like a battery operated stapler, but it's worked really well. I've actually put up most of the insulation with this between me and my wife, and it saves a lot of trying to pull the manual staple trigger. It makes things a little bit easier. Matter of fact, I've gone to battery operated for much of my platforms. If I had to do a large production with stapling, I think air would probably be more efficient. But this works fine for most of my needs. And there I am trying some different cuts and securing the fabric. And all these seem to be acceptable. I just don't know the best way. And we're going to finish this up, smooth it out, make sure it looks good, nice and tidy on the front. And I think that's good.
So one thing I figured out is these brackets do not provide an opportunity to come up from below through the support to screw things in. I'm not so sure that I'm going to be able to get a screw in that front part without drilling a hole in the bracket. I think I can get one in the back, and I'm going to try to use this. This is a flexi bit attachment that my son got for me. I've never had the opportunity to use it before, but this looks like the perfect place to try. I am going to do one quick thing that might make this a little bit easier. Now we'll see how many screws that I drop before I successfully get this in. That worked perfectly. Not so sure that I can get this one in, even with this bit. It's such a tight fit, but I'm going to give it a try. Well, I had to go in at an angle, but that did the job. Very nice. So this is not something that you're likely to need on a daily basis. But when you've got that strange angle and it's really hard to get to, it's very nice to have.
Well, it's finally time to put those boards back up where they go. Notice I did chop the bottoms off so that they would sit nice and flat on top of the shelf. These will keep the cat from scratching the insulation right there. Plus, he likes to use them to sharpen his claws.
Okay, we're up and running. I think this will do the minimum. It's nice and sturdy for him. He's not going to fall off. There is an area here for a rod. I think I'm going to do something with that. So I went over to my scrap pile and got to looking and found that I had a piece of dowel. So I cut a piece off to make this the same. And I may redo this and give him more of a flat shelf. But for right now, I believe this gives him something to where he can jump up on and help himself get up here and possibly down. So I'm going to put a few screws in there to keep things from moving around on him. I feel like he's going to like this, but we'll have to get his seal of approval.
So I took another piece of fabric and wrapped the bar and stapled it on there to give him something to grip onto. Seemed to work well. And I think we have Shop Cat's seal of approval. He lounges on it and seems to really, really enjoy it. Well, thanks for watching. There'll be more woodworking and DIY videos coming. If you like this, go ahead and like it and subscribe, and we'll have more videos coming in the near future.